Welcome to Love and Guilt in the Anthropocene, a podcast to help people and organizations embrace the adventure of climate action. We are envisioning a world where sustainability comes naturally. Welcome back to Love and Guilt in the Anthropocene. This is another reading from the blog, and this time we're talking about addressing what doesn't work, using analogies from an aging body. After my latest run, it took a half hour for my feet to stop tingling. When I asked my running app's AI about my foot numbness, it suggested a few potential problems. I decided that shoes too tight couldn't possibly be my problem. I've been a size 10 since I can remember, probably since about 8th grade when I stopped growing vertically. Later this week, when we took our 3-year-old in for new tennis shoes, I decided to ask if someone in the running section could help me troubleshoot what had happened. "Let's just check your shoe size," the clerk said. I stood there, bare feet and cold metal, absolutely gobsmacked. "Yep, you're a size 10.5, she shouted up from my feet. We forget that as we age, our bodies are still changing. They may not be growing in the same way they were when we were children, but they are responding to the things we subject them to and to the environment around them. Perhaps it was the pregnancies and birth or the extra 40 pounds I carried since motherhood started that reshaped my bones, my muscles, and ultimately my feet. Parenthood is an amazing transformation. Becoming a mother, and also not becoming a mother, has really reshaped the way I think about fellow human beings. It has reframed how I would like to relate to my natural environment. Humans versus nature? My graduate studies in sustainability were emotionally challenging. We learned about the many varied ways humans were degrading, eroding, mistreating, abusing, and flat out killing the environment and each other. It was hard to find hope in all of that. But this antagonistic Western view of humans and nature is not the only view out there, and it seems to be a large part of what has landed us all smack dab in the middle of a dramatically warming climate. As with my shoes, I have to let go of what I thought I knew. I wish I had read Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer much, much earlier in my career. Even though I was raised by people who cared deeply for the environment, they still felt humans and nature were distinct and separate, and humans could only cause harm to the environment. Braiding Sweetgrass illustrates how curiosity and respect can expand beyond individual people to all living things. My favorite anecdote from Kimmerer's book is how she asked aspiring botany graduate students 2 questions. The first, "Do you love nature?" To which they responded with something like, "Yes, of course." The second, "Does nature love you?" To which they were befuddled and couldn't formulate a response at all. We're here now, at this point in our humanity, and it's not working for us anymore. It's time to get real and invest in the change. It's time to let nature love us again. Habit forming. It turns out my feet aren't the only things that have changed unnoticed as I age. At a local health fair, I loitered near a chiropractor booth to see if I could snag some swag. They caught me and offered me an on-the-spot assessment of my posture. I was pretty confident those full torso front and side profile pictures of me would show I had great posture. After all, I'd recently seen a physical therapist who cured me of my ongoing lower back pain by teaching me how to unlock my knees and keep my hips back. The chiropractor's assessment showed that I had indeed fixed that problem, but my head was still too far forward. I kind of looked like one of those early stage proto-humans, in those images that show how humans started walking upright. How could I be almost 40 and not know how to stand properly? The chiropractor assured me this was a common postural error in the era of cell phones. It was yet another source of my lower back woes, but it could still be fixed. Buying larger shoes is one thing, but constantly monitoring my posture and trying to correct it is a totally different thing. This is a habit I have to rebuild. Humans really don't like change. We see examples of this daily. Friends in bad relationships who'd rather be miserable than have to start over. Colleagues who know they eat horrible foods constantly but seem unable to make small changes in a better direction. Whether big or little, change is difficult, and yet change is life. Or rather, life is all about change. Nothing is ever constant, and it's a lie we tell ourselves that it could be. For a long time now, humans have been doing something that might have worked in the short term, but really doesn't work today. That's how we've treated the natural environment. It's not just greenhouse gases, but that's a big part of it. We know humans won't make it on this planet, certainly not in today's numbers, unless we start acting differently. Some of these shifts are like buying a new shoe size. We need different infrastructure, different ways of generating electricity and power that don't consume limited resources or emit deadly and dangerous pollutants. Some of these things can be enacted relatively quickly and have a broad impact. Some of these shifts will be habits we need to rebuild. We need to offer more respect to the resources we have and understand what it took to get them to us. Single-use anything is ridiculous when you start to respect where plastic comes from, how it's manufactured, what it takes to mold and shape it, and how many lives, human and otherwise, were harmed to get it to you. Some of these new habits may form slowly, but could become the new normal for most people while waiting for some stalwarts to die off before absolutely everyone is on board. I want to live a long life as pain-free as possible, so you can bet I will be buying appropriate shoes and monitoring my posture. Likewise, I want my kids and my friends' kids to live long, happy lives, so I'll be working on sustainability in whatever ways I can, from reframing the way I think about nature to helping establish systems of circularity for the resources humans need day to day. I will keep teaching my child about the wonders of nature and how to be a good steward and carer for nature. I will keep talking about the latest approaches humans have developed to live in better harmony with the environment that sustains us, to break out of the habits of assuming we're separate from nature, and to start giving back to our one and only planet. We have to start somewhere. Knowing that something no longer works is the first step. The second is actually trying to do something about it. Thank you for listening. If you want to embrace the adventure of climate action, subscribe to our podcast and check out our Love and Guilt in the Anthropocene blog at clinicallysustainable.substack.com.